All right. Welcome to another episode of Connect and Politic. We're here with a special guest. Please introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
My favorite snack. My name is Chike Wabuku. I'm currently located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And my favorite snack, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know. Popcorn, maybe. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there. Maybe it's the last snack I had.
Well, what's
Popcorn.
your? Are you not a snack person?
Um, I do snack at times, but it varies. It's not like I go to like a one snack thing. I can eat popcorn one day, eat carrots the next day, eat like some Oreos the next day or something. So it's like, yeah, I'm not like a one snack. Like I gotta go for that one type of snack. So
Yeah. So when you say popcorn, is it homemade popcorn or is it movie theater
um,
popcorn?
there's actually a popcorn from Trader Joe's that I like.
Okay.
Called heirloom popcorn. Heirloom, I think. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know. It's I don't know. It's like smaller. It just tastes lighter, and it just tastes better than other popcorns I've had. So I don't know.
Nice. Nice. All right. What's your fondest memory from childhood?
My fondest memory from childhood. Wow, like you're going in. What's my fondest memory from childhood? What part of childhood?
Any part. I mean, it could be the entire childhood from anything that you remember. Or actually, you could give a couple if you have, if you have a fond memory when I guess before you were 10 and then your teenage years. Um,
Wow, that is I don't know. Fondest memory from childhood. I mean, I guess from like the zero to, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just had good times. I used to live in Adelphi, Maryland.
right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we just had a lot of good times in that house and in that household. We went to Nigeria. There were, my father came to visit us in Nigeria because only me, my brother, my sister, my mother. I remember it was a fond memory of him taking us out to the ocean and we're on his back, and I thought he was swimming, but in hindsight, he probably was just walking around or something. You know, I would say after that, I guess moved to Lanham. I don't know, like the middle school, high school years were very active for me. I had a lot of experiences during that time, a lot of life changing experiences during that time period, um, and I don't know which one I will call the fondest. I mean that's a hard one to come off the top. I don't know. I mean, I just had a lot of a lot of good memories. Had a lot of great friendships. I felt, probably the most free during that time period, and very alive. Um, I don't know. High school. I mean, I would say high school was just like, a lot of good memories, just a lot of great friendships. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of one in particular. I mean, there's parties. There was, I said life changing. I got. There were some incidents that were life changing during that time period that taught me a lot about life. That could be seen as negative, but um, it was inspirational. Um, I don't know. I would just say a lot of it was with family, like family and close friends. If that
Yeah.
helps, maybe it's
Yeah,
not.
no, it does, it does. I mean,
All
so
right.
both, um, you know, so your fondest memory ranges from the traveling to Nigeria, and then your pops coming, and then the great times you had in high school. And in
Yeah, and that was in the
how do you,
states. In the
yeah,
states.
okay, yeah. So how do you think your childhood helped groom you into the person that you are today?
I felt my childhood. Um, I felt I learned most of my lessons about. I won't say most of my lessons about life, but I'll say that because of my childhood, I feel like I can go to any environment in the world, literally. I've been lucky to travel outside the country, outside Nigeria, and things like that. And I just feel comfortable anywhere I go because of my childhood. I was around diverse people. I've been around some violence, where it's like it doesn't scare me to go around to certain neighborhoods. I've been around, there was high level politicians and the I don't know, high life circle or elite circles. I just kind of feel like I had a lot of experiences in high school that gave me a diversity of perspective about the world that allowed me to feel comfortable in most settings that I go to. So
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest thing about my childhood, how that helped to shape who I am.
yeah,
And also, I would say um, what I do now, as far as like work and my interests and things like that, a lot of that was shaped in childhood. Even though I didn't necessarily fully pursue it, all the way until later on, but a lot
yeah.
of those things were shaped in childhood. So,
Nice, nice. Name something in your life that you're not willing to live without.
hmm, name something in my life that I'm not willing to live without. Love. I don't know if that's too broad or, you know.
No, I mean, and when you say love, you mean familial love, family, uh, spouse, kids,
All the
community.
above. I think that feeling, that experience, that thing that we call love, I think that, to live in the world without with that feeling, that thing, to like not feel a sense of belonging, not feel a sense of attachment, not feel a sense. I mean, all these, I say attachment, they can be interpreted different ways, but I'm just saying, not feeling that thing. I feel like that's when, if it ever does, or if I ever did experience, that's when I probably would feel the most lost. I think anytime I do feel lost, I always try to remember, what do I love in this life, and it kind of
Yeah,
brings me back to who I am and why am I here and what I'm trying to do.
nice. When you kept saying that thing, it kind of reminded me of Lauren Hill.
That
Yeah, talk. It's the same, the song. And
sure.
um, what are your
So,
favorite things
sorry,
to
I
do?
didn't mean to cut you off. I just don't think it's like a physical thing for me. That's what it is. It's like I don't have anything physical that I feel like I can't live without. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that.
no. So, I mean, we could dive a little deep into the love piece. So, you said, love is something that you're not willing to live without. Uh, define love. When I say love, what comes to mind to you?
I mean, I think a lot of people have different definitions, and I think that it's kind of almost like a God definition that it's almost undescribable. But I think in trying to describe part of it is that deep sense of uh, purpose, intention, desire. Purpose, intention, desire. Like I said, to a degree, belonging. Attachment. I mean, and also selflessness. Like there's a sense of selflessness. And experiencing it, that it's like, hey, when you love someone, you want to, do for them, or put their own needs above yours and things like that. Whether it's a child, a spouse, a parent, a sibling, whatever. It's just like, yeah, you want to have this thing. It's like I said, it's almost like a sense of a deeper sense of purpose. Simon Sinek. You know what Simon Sinek is. Start with Why. You ever heard that book?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so he had said something one time. This is not necessarily, it's more to do with courage rather than love, but I think it's a little bit similar. Is that he was saying that he interviewed a bunch of military folks one time, and he said that, what gives them, he was asking what gives them courage, and he said what gives them courage is the idea that they know that their partner, their friend, their military mate, or whatever, would die for them, so they're willing to die for their mate. So I kind of feel like, that's in a way like love gives you courage as well. It's like, hey, when I'm willing to put somebody else's needs above my own, it's like, you do that, and hopefully when it's reciprocated back to you, then it's like, you're both able to move beyond your comfort zones. So
nice. What are your favorite things to do for self-care?
favorite things to do what?
For self-care.
For self-care. So I mean, I've been to this thing called Capoeira Angola, for a while. It's an Afro-Brazilian martial and cultural art. I've had an interesting relationship with it as far as, being really into it at one point and not as much later on, but something I've continued to go through. But it's kind of like a dance and a calisthenics type of movement that, I've done since my senior year of college. So I won't date myself, but it's been a while. It's like I've been doing it for a while. And I mean, self-care. I mean, I try to jog, try to eat healthy, and try to, have good relationships. I think that has a lot to do with self-care, like not having too much stress and drama in your life. I think that has a lot to do with self-care. So I'll just say exercise, eat healthy, and, managing my relationships.
Right.
So
What motivates or excites you?
what motivates or excites me? The future. I mean, just, the possibility of what is to come, and, putting in work today, for a better tomorrow. It's like, I forgot who said it. Maybe it will come to me. It's like, don't love your accolades, so to speak. I forgot what that whole saying goes. Like, don't sweat your trophies, whatever, for something like that. But it's just kind of like, you go to a goal, like you work towards a goal, you accomplish it, but then it's like, if you just stop there and it's like, okay, I've done that, then there's never anything more to go from there, But it's like, if you're like, hey, I've accomplished that, well, let me think about, what can come next, then it's like, yeah, there's a sense of excitement, and you're not like stale and dull in one place.
Yeah. What do you do in your professional life, and how did you get to where you are?
Hold on. So currently, I'm a copywriter. I write for businesses. I write professionally for businesses. I'm not. You know what that is? A copywriter.
Well, tell the audience.
Sure. So a copywriter is basically someone. It's like sales and print, as they call it, sales and print. So blogs, video scripts, ebooks, website copy, anything of that nature. Somebody, like, it's weird because it's like, because with the internet, a lot of people feel as though that people don't read anymore. We actually read more because it's like we're always reading a blog or always reading something. Even social media. A lot of folks don't run their own social media accounts. It's like somebody's writing it for them. So that's what basically copywriters do. So currently I'm a copywriter. I worked many years in the education field. I was a teacher for a while, a long time actually, but I made a transition into copywriting about a year and a half ago. And writer, filmmaker, I also make films. I'm a filmmaker, and using my education experience from the past, I'm looking into education technology, like looking at building education apps and things of that nature. But right now, in particular, is writer filmmaker.
Nice. What's one thing that you would love to learn that you haven't gotten to yet?
One thing I would love to learn that I haven't gotten to yet, so I don't know if the audience knows this, but I went to college with Mike. And you said something in college that I've never forgotten.
Oh, wow.
You said that maybe it was when we were taking the class together. We took a language class together. You said you would love to learn every language in the world if you could, you know.
Right.
I always thought that was like such a really like, interesting thought, but one thing I haven't learned, I would say, yeah, I want to learn some more languages, to me, I think that's a great way to connect with the world, especially in the age of, global connectivity and things like that. I think, that's a great way to, be able to connect and, engage in a different way. So I want to learn some more languages.
Yeah. What languages do you currently know?
I mean, as far as like speaking, I mean, English, Portuguese, if you drop me in Brazil or Portuguese speaking area, I mean, I'll be fine. Even though I'm a little bit rusty. Same thing with Spanish, a little bit rusty, but if you drop me there, it's like my neighbors are from Central America. I talk to them in Spanish all the time. My heritage, Igbo, I grew up mostly in the States. So it's like, I've grown more in my comprehension and speaking of Igbo. Um, a couple of African languages, and French. I would say African, Swahili. I'd like to learn. I don't know any Swahili. I know a little. I can hear a few words of Yoruba, but I probably want to learn some more Yoruba. So Swahili, Yoruba, Arabic, and then I would say like French and Chinese.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's a tall order, I know, but
Yeah. I mean,
I
you got
think,
time. You got, you can make it happen. I'm sure. I'm sure. Can
yeah.
you think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
Hmm. Um. The first thing that came to mind is not what it would be. So the first thing that came to mind was do it now, but I don't necessarily feel like I didn't do certain things I wanted to do. I think that what I struggled with younger was the follow through, because I would start a lot of stuff, and I would get good at it, but never I felt great because I didn't follow all the way through, So I would just say, follow through is just as important as, getting started, make sure you're following all the way through. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And to piggyback on that, what's the best advice you've received?
The best advice I've received. Um, Jill Scott, live your life like it's golden. I mean, it's kind of, people say in all different ways, just, live, with intention, with purpose, you know, um, yeah, live with intention and with purpose. I know when I was in college, undergrad, I was, considering doing a different profession that I am in now. And, somebody within that profession, older than me, talked to me and was just like, really think about, intentionality and being purposeful with what you're trying to do, and, that stuck with me a lot. But I think that's when like reiterated, throughout my life, just kind of like, live with intention and live with the purpose, So,
Hmm.
you know,
Good. What has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle, and what helped you get through it?
what was the toughest thing I had to tackle? Um, to be honest, so I'm currently married. However, I have a child with another woman, and it's we don't have an amicable relationship at this current moment, and that's been real challenging. It's like I don't want to point fingers. I feel like I do a lot, to try to make it amicable, and because I can't control her reaction or anything like that. That's been real challenging because I have a child. I care a lot about my daughter, and I care a lot about children, and especially work in education. I kind of know how these experiences can affect children. Yeah, it's been real challenging for me, and it's still challenging. It's something that I work on a lot. I'm happy that, my wife now was able to, support me in it, my family, things like that. But it's been real challenging, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And um, the other side of this is what makes you happy.
What makes me happy? Spending time with family, like, for the family that that I am with. Spending time with my family, and doing what
Mm,
I love. I think, going back to that whole follow through, like getting started on something, it's like, as a filmmaker, it's like, you have an idea, you write it down, you go through production, post production may take a while, you finish that or whatnot, but then it's like, once that's done, it's like, what makes me happy is be able to get started on the next one. It's
mm,
like, oh, that was a great process, but while that was going on, this other idea came to me, which, it's like that makes me happy, and when I'm not doing that, just spending time with my family, like, really kind of like living almost with like, no worries, no regrets, and, just like being present in the moment, I think that helps a lot. This corona has been really great in some ways because it's like, the pressure of every day, like, hustle, is not necessarily as high, so I've been able to kind of just, yeah, focus on more things that I've been wanting to do outside of, work and stuff like that, even though I'm still, doing work, but it's just like, focus a little bit more on other things. So
yeah,
enjoy
well,
that.
that's good. If you won the lottery tomorrow, what will you do? And I'm talking about the big lottery, so 500 to 700 million.
You know, so what's the first thing I would do, or what are like some things I would do? Like one thing
Some
I would do, or some
No,
things I would.
no, just like some of the things you would do. You won the lottery, you got a call, Chike, you just won 700 million.
All right, seven
What?
hundred million. So the first 100, I will probably, disperse within my immediate family and friends and my circle. Just kind of like, to me, it's also kind of like a way of saying thank you, of like, supporting and being there for me, but also it's also kind of an investment in them. Like, hey, I believe in what you all are about, what you're doing. I want to, pass this out. Um, Second thing I would do, I would probably, well, a couple of things. So I would, I would get a couple of houses. Well, I don't know if it's a couple, but I'll just say, yeah, in a way, it's kind of like, I won't say that, okay, that would probably won't be first, but that would come along. But I would invest into my own, film production company. A lot of times, filmmakers, that's kind of like the challenge, is that finding funding, things like that. I have bigger ideas, but it's like, you got to find funding. I would invest into a fund to help, like young filmmakers and young writers, running creative entrepreneurs. I would invest into that. I would probably invest into some stock, and when I say the houses, it's more kind of like I'll probably do real estate first, invest into real estate, invest into ways that the money can actually keep growing. So I'm not just spending it and it's like, I'm never going to see it again. A way to, I'll probably do investments first and foremost. So spread it within my circle first, and then afterwards do investments next. Um, I'll probably, I'm planning to move out of Philly anyway, so I'll be out of Philly sooner. The Corona thing kind of like slowed us down, but and the expectancy, but yeah, so it's like get out of Philly, get a couple of places on different continents,
Right.
and I mean, maybe some minor things. Like maybe I get a new car or something. That's a minor thing. I mean, I don't buy cars with car notes and stuff like that. So I say minor because it's like, it's not like I'm gonna go like get like, a $500,000 car. It's like, I'll get a $10,000 car even as a million that's used. A used one. So but yeah, I'll say spread it within the circle and create some investments, long-term investments. The money keeps growing. Do some personal investments into myself, and invest into like the next generation. So
Nice.
those are the immediate things I can think of. Yeah.
Nice. Is there anything that you haven't done or accomplished yet that you would regret if you never get to do or accomplish?
I mean, on a probably more immediate level, it depends on how soon I die. But on a immediate level, it's like I do. I mean, as a filmmaker, it's like I've done a lot of shorts, I got some attention here and there, but I haven't put out that like uh, head turning feature yet. I'd like to get a feature, out under my belt, like head turning, not just like oh, I did a feature, but like head turning, establish me a little bit higher on that level. Our future. I mean, I do want to, I do want to do a little more business in Nigeria and Africa. That's something I do feel, passionate about. So I want to do a little more business there. I mean, I'll say establishing something more that to me, that's also kind of like, investing into the future and things like that. Um, Future that. Um, Honestly, there's not much more. I mean, I think, every day kind of is a new challenge, and, I'm doing things that, I enjoy, and I'm passionate about now, so I'm sure there's more things I'll do, like little small, smaller things as far as like, I don't know, run a marathon or something, you know what I mean? But it's like, that will come up, and, it's not like
Yeah,
necessarily that high on my bucket list, run a
yeah,
marathon.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, for the final question, how do you define success?
I define success as doing what you set out to do and accomplishing, yeah, really kind of doing what you set out to do. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like you wanna go rap to a girl. It's success if like, hey, your objective was to get her number and start a relationship. That's success. If you wanted to go into a certain profession, it's like it's success. If you get into that profession and your objective was to make sure you can make a living or make a lot of money, you do that, that's success. So I think it's not as complicated sometimes as we make it. It's really just having a goal and an intention, and pursuing it, following all the way through. And once that's done, then it's like that's success for you. I think everybody's success is different.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good note to end on. Well, we connected, we politic, and we will definitely do this again in the near future.
cool, cool, cool. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome.